fruit has a question mark. Why does fruit have a question mark? If someone has a yeast presence in their body, the sugar in the fruit will feed the yeast because it's its favourite food. And if you're not going to give refined sugar to the yeast, it'll happily accept the sugar in the fruit. And as it feeds on the sugar in the fruit, it gives off lactic acid. It gives off uric acid. Sorry, that shouldn't be there. That should be acid. Lactic acid, uric acid, acetic acid, and alcohol. So can you see what yeast does? It feathers its nest. So the more fruit a person eats that have a yeast problem, the more acid is created, and this creates the environment that yeast and fungus love. Have you noticed your legs aren't as strong or dependable as they once were? Is it getting harder to climb stairs, enjoy long walks, or even get out of a chair without stiffness? You might dismiss it as just getting older, but what if the real culprit is something you're eating every single day, completely unaware of its hidden harm? For years, we've been told fruit is a cornerstone of a healthy diet, and it is. Fruits are loaded with vital nutrients. However, there's a critical nuance. As we age, our bodies metabolize food differently. The very fruits that once fueled us might now be subtly undermining our health. Certain fruits, especially those high in specific sugars, acids, or enzymes, can secretly trigger inflammation, impair circulation, and even accelerate the deterioration of your joints and muscles, all under the guise of being healthy. You could be consuming these fruits, believing you're benefiting your body, only to be puzzled by persistent leg heaviness, aching knees, or swollen ankles after meals. The reality is fruit isn't a monolithic category, especially for those over 60. This video will expose the 7 most detrimental fruits for seniors, the ones rarely discussed by medical professionals. These fruits can silently contribute to leg weakness, joint stiffness, and compromised circulation, making everyday movements unnecessarily difficult. This isn't about eliminating fruit from your diet. It's about empowering you to make informed, strategic choices, allowing you to savor delicious foods without the accompanying pain and fatigue. Are you prepared to uncover which fruits might be silently holding back your mobility? Let's begin. Your journey to a more agile and robust future starts now. On Tuesday night, we looked at the link between cancer and fungus. So when someone comes to me wanting help to conquer cancer, I take them off all fruit for 6 weeks. One lady said, "But Barbara, God made fruit good." I said, "Oh, he sure did. Fruit is wonderful." But if someone has a condition in their body that's got a high yeast presence, they need to either greatly reduce it or stop it for a period of time. Let's be honest, our bodies just don't bounce back like they used to. Remember when you could eat anything and feel fine the next day? Those days might be gone, and that's okay. But it does mean we need to pay closer attention to what we eat, especially when it comes to fruit. What used to nourish us might now work against us in ways we never expected. As we age, several natural physiological changes occur that can turn once healthy fruits into potential problems for our bodies. One key factor is our slower metabolism, meaning the body doesn't process sugar as efficiently as it did in our younger years. Excess fruit sugar, or fructose, lingers longer, spiking blood sugar and directly fueling inflammation, which is the primary antagonist to joint health. This means even a seemingly innocent afternoon orange or banana could be detrimental. Another contributing element is weaker circulation, as blood vessels naturally lose elasticity with age, impeding the efficient delivery of nutrients to our legs and the removal of waste products. Certain fruits can exacerbate this by thickening the blood or triggering fluid retention, leading to uncomfortable heavy legs or swollen ankles. Finally, decades of use can make our joints highly sensitive, much like an alarm system, resulting in increased inflammation sensitivity, where even seemingly healthy fruits can trigger swelling, stiffness, or throbbing pain that wasn't present before. Now let's talk about the 3 silent saboteurs lurking in those innocent-looking fruits. These aren't just theories, they're scientifically proven effects that doctors often overlook when giving general eat more fruit advice to seniors. First, sugar spikes in fruits like watermelon and mango, packed with fast-digesting sugars, can flood your bloodstream and trigger the release of inflammatory chemicals, eventually damaging joint tissue and leading to stubborn hip stiffness or aching knees. Second, uric acid buildup, common with grapes and bananas due to their high fructose content, results in the conversion of fructose into sharp needle-like uric acid crystals that can lodge in joints, particularly the big toe or knees, causing painful gout flare-ups where even a bedsheet can cause agony. Third, blood vessel stress arises because acidic fruits can irritate delicate blood vessels, while sugary ones make blood stickier, both contributing to reduced circulation in your legs, manifesting as nighttime cramps, cold feet, or an exhausting walking through mud fatigue that saps your energy. The good news is that unlike irreversible aging, what you choose to eat is 100% within your control. You don't have to simply accept painful joints or weak legs as a normal part of aging. In the next section, we'll expose the 7 worst offenders, some of which might shock you, even those marketed as superfoods. More importantly, you'll discover delicious alternatives that protect rather than punish your body. The truth is, with the right fruit choices, you can reduce inflammation within days, improve circulation in weeks, and reclaim the mobility you thought was gone forever. Your golden years should be about enjoyment, not endurance. And that transformation begins with what's on your plate. My mother died at 51, a cripple in a wheelchair with rheumatoid arthritis. She was wheelchair bound for the last 6 years of her life. Now, I have strong inherited genes towards rheumatoid arthritis. I have a loaded gun, but I'm not going to pull the trigger. Remember, genetics loads the gun, lifestyle pulls the trigger. She didn't realise that she was eating all the acid foods. So many people are sick through ignorance, isn't that right? Every now and then, some of my joints start knocking. What do I mean like that? Well, my left knee sometimes knocks. 7 fruits that can secretly undermine your mobility. Let's be clear, we're not saying these fruits are bad or poison. Instead, think of this as an awareness guide. These fruits, while often seen as healthy, might be contributing to issues you're already experiencing, like that nagging knee ache or unexpected leg fatigue. Our goal is to reveal why these 7 fruits could be silently working against your mobility, and more importantly, what delicious alternatives you can choose instead. Pineapple, the joint irritator. This tropical delight offers a double whammy for seniors: high acidity and an enzyme called bromelain. While bromelain can aid digestion for some, it can actually irritate already sensitive joints, much like sandpaper on tender skin. Over time, the acid can also erode your stomach lining, hindering your body's ability to absorb essential nutrients like magnesium and calcium, vital for strong muscles and flexible joints. What makes pineapple tricky is how its sweetness masks these effects, so you might not connect that afternoon joint stiffness to your morning snack. Here's what you might notice. Increased stiffness in fingers and knees within hours of consumption, a burning joint sensation distinct from typical arthritis pain, surprisingly worse heartburn at night, even if the fruit was eaten earlier, and more frequent bathroom trips as your body attempts to flush out the acids. Adding to these concerns, it's surprising to learn that canned pineapple is even more problematic, with its syrup often containing up to 20 grams of added sugar per serving, effectively transforming it into a sugar bomb. Furthermore, the bromelain in pineapple can interfere with certain blood pressure medications, diminishing their effectiveness when you need them most. that familiar tingling feeling on your tongue when eating pineapple, that's actually the enzymes breaking down protein, an action that makes one ponder its long-term effect on a sensitive digestive tract. Amylopectin A, it's called. And amylopectin A gets the blood sugar level up very quickly, like that. That's your amylopectin A. Amylopectin B is found in bananas and potatoes. And for those who are familiar with the glycemic index of food, the glycemic index of food is where the sugar is released into the blood. Anything above 55 is high, anything below 55 is low. And banana and potatoes are quite high. So amylopectin B is found in bananas and potatoes, and that gets it up quite high. It's basically like that. Bananas are the ultimate convenient, sweet and potassium-rich fast food from nature. However, as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to their high glycemic index and tyrosine content, often leading to fluid retention, especially in your legs and ankles. Overripe bananas are particularly problematic. Their brown spots indicate higher sugar concentration, which spikes blood sugar faster and triggers more inflammation. The starch in overripe bananas converts to pure sugar, digesting too quickly and worsening insulin resistance, a major factor in joint stiffness and swelling. You might notice your shoes feeling tighter by afternoon, puffy ankles after breakfast, that heavy leg sensation when walking, and increased bloating, particularly with overripe bananas. Consider the experience of Clara, 68, who had a banana every morning for energy, only to find her rings feeling tighter by lunchtime. Her primary care physician suggested it was just water retention due to the heat, but when Clara swapped her banana for a small bowl of berries, her hands and ankles felt noticeably less swollen within a week. This shift made a tangible difference in her comfort. It's a shocking fact that a medium, overripe banana has nearly 30% more sugar than a firm, slightly green one. This extra sweetness comes at a cost, leading to more inflammation, increased water retention, and greater strain on your joints. Watermelon, the dehydration deceiver, that refreshing crunch hides a dangerous paradox. Watermelon can actually dehydrate you while seemingly quenching your thirst. Its 92% water content is coupled with a surprising amount of fast-acting sugar, about 18 grams per wedge. This creates a blood sugar roller coaster that forces your kidneys to work overtime, flushing out both sugar and precious electrolytes through frequent urination. Compounding the issue, the lycopene that gives watermelon its red colour can accumulate in seniors' slower digestive systems, potentially causing nausea or diarrhoea, further leading to dehydration. Within hours of consuming watermelon, you might experience sudden fatigue after an initial energy boost fades alongside increased thirst despite eating a water-rich fruit. Nighttime leg cramps, often a result of electrolyte loss, can become more frequent, and bloating from the fructose fermenting in your gut is also a common symptom. Consider the case of Robert, 70, who ate watermelon daily during the summer months to stay hydrated. He consistently woke up with painful Charlie horses, and his doctor eventually discovered his potassium levels were surprisingly low. This was despite the high potassium fruit, as the substantial sugar rush from the watermelon was causing his body to flush out essential nutrients faster than they could be replaced. It's a shocking comparison, but a typical 10-pound watermelon contains about 1 pound of pure sugar, akin to blending 2 cups of sugar into a gallon of water and calling it refreshing. Even more alarming, watermelon's glycemic index 72 is higher than that of both donuts 65 and white bread 70, indicating its rapid impact on blood sugar. Grapes, the hidden sugar bombs. Grapes might seem like innocent, bite-sized snacks, but they're essentially tiny sugar packets masquerading as health food. A single cup packs about 23 grams of sugar, nearly as much as a candy bar. For For seniors, this sugar overload converts directly into uric acid, which can crystallise in joints, leading to painful gout flare-ups. Smaller grapes tend to have more concentrated sugar, and seedless varieties are often bred to be even sweeter. So those seemingly healthy purple antioxidants come with a steep price for your joints and circulation. To worsen their effects, consuming grapes at night, when your metabolism naturally slows, can be particularly problematic. Combining them with other high sugar fruits also intensifies the sugar load. Furthermore, opting for raisins, which are essentially dried and therefore even more sugar concentrated grapes, can heighten these negative impacts. As a result, you might experience sharp, sudden pains in your big toes or fingers. You could also notice a stiffness that feels distinct from typical arthritis, along with visible swelling around your joints within hours of eating grapes. Additionally, an unusual fatigue might set in as your body struggles to cope with the influx of sugar. Consider the experience of Eleanor, 69, who loved to snack on grapes while enjoying her evening news until she started waking up with excruciating pain in her big toe. Her doctor diagnosed it as gout, but didn't initially connect it to her regular grape habit. It wasn't until a sharp nutritionist pointed out the link, and after Eleanor switched to Tart cherries, which are known to lower uric acid, that her pain completely vanished. This transformation highlights a shocking comparison. A typical 2-pound bag of grapes contains about half a pound of pure sugar, akin to consuming half a cup of straight sugar. Yet because it's delivered in small, seemingly harmless doses, many of us don't realise the significant amount we're truly ingesting. Same with the adults. How many adults get up in the morning, first thing they have is, say, orange juice and a cup of coffee? Isn't that the traditional breakfast fluids? And what are they doing when they have their orange juice and their cup of coffee? They're thirsty, they're trying to hydrate, but neither will hydrate them. How clean would your body be if you washed it in orange juice? Oranges, the acidic offenders. That bright citrus zing comes at a steep price for seniors. Oranges pose a triple threat with citric acid, natural sugars and histamine-releasing compounds that can wreak havoc on ageing bodies. The acid doesn't just erode tooth enamel, a significant concern for seniors with dental work. It also irritates joint linings, much like lemon juice on a paper cut. Even more concerning, the vitamin C boost often associated with oranges actually increases iron absorption, which can be dangerous for older adults with undiagnosed hemochromatosis, iron overload. To exacerbate these issues, drinking orange juice, which is concentrated in acid and sugar without the beneficial fibre, is particularly problematic. Similarly, consuming oranges before bed can elevate your risk of acid reflux. Furthermore, oranges can interfere with the efficacy of certain medications, including statins and blood thinners, making their consumption ill-advised when on such prescriptions. As a result of these factors, you might observe a worsening of hip flexibility within hours of eating oranges. There could also be an increase in bursitis pain, manifesting as sharp, needle-like sensations. Other potential symptoms include sudden tooth sensitivity, especially around dental work like crowns or fillings, and recurring heartburn that disrupts your sleep. Senior experience. Julia, 71, drank orange juice every morning for immunity until her dentist noticed significant enamel loss and her rheumatologist connected her worsening joint pain to citrus. Switching to another fruit, which we'll discuss next, provided her with vitamin C without the damage. Within weeks, her nighttime heartburn disappeared and her hip mobility improved. Shocking facts. One large orange contains the acid equivalent of a can of soda. The sugar in orange juice hits your bloodstream faster than a Snickers bar. Citrus fruits are among the top triggers for arthritis flare-ups. Mango, the sugar tsunami. That luscious tropical sweetness is actually a tidal wave of sugar crashing through your aging system. A single mango packs a staggering 45 grams of sugar, more than a can of soda. For seniors, this creates an inflammatory chain reaction. First, a blood sugar spike, then an insulin surge, followed by a crash that leaves joints swollen and nerves tingling. The worst part is mango's unique combination of fructose and sorbitol, a hard-to-digest sugar alcohol, which often leads to double trouble, joint pain plus digestive distress. What makes mangoes particularly problematic is consuming them when they are ripe, as their sugar content is at its peak. Additionally, drinking mango as juice removes all its beneficial fibre, leading to a more rapid sugar spike. Pairing mango with other high sugar foods further exacerbates these issues, creating an even greater sugar load on your system. Consequently, you might experience a burning sensation in your feet and hands roughly 2 to 3 hours after eating. Your fingers might become puffy, making rings feel tight, and an unusual grogginess could set in after the initial energy boost fades. Furthermore, the sorbitol's laxative effect might lead to increased bathroom urgency. Shocking fact, the sugar in one mango can take your liver more than 12 hours to fully process. Mango skin contains urushiol, the same irritant as poison ivy. Bad news for arthritic hands. Dried mango is essentially candy with 32 grams of sugar per small handful. Green apples. That crisp, tart bite of a green apple is loaded with malic acid, nature's version of sandpaper for your aging digestive system and joints. While often praised as a diet food, green apples contain nearly double the acid of their red counterparts. This acid doesn't just trigger heartburn, it can actually leach calcium from your bones as your body attempts to neutralise it. Even worse, the combination of hard-to-digest fibre and intense acidity creates a perfect storm for painful muscle cramps, particularly in your legs at night. What makes green apples particularly problematic is eating the skin, where the concentration of malic acid is highest. Consuming them on an empty stomach can also intensify their acidic impact. Furthermore, choosing the Granny Smith variety, known for being the most acidic, will amplify these issues. As a result, you might wake with jaw tension from nighttime teeth grinding, a common response to acid. You could also experience sudden Charlie horses that jolt you awake, or a strange metallic taste in your mouth, indicative of acid reflux. An increased need for antacids after meals is another potential consequence. Shocking fact. One green apple has the acid equivalent of a shot of vinegar. The malic acid can worsen osteoporosis by disrupting calcium absorption. And that satisfying crunch? It's literally damaging tooth enamel with each bite. Smart fruit choices for better mobility. Now that you're aware of the fruits that might be contributing to your discomfort, you're probably wondering what you can enjoy. Don't worry, you don't have to give up fruit entirely. The key is making smarter choices that nourish your body. These alternatives offer natural sweetness without the inflammation, and some even actively support joint health and recovery. Let's explore some fantastic options. Avocado, nature's joint cushion. Consider avocado, often called nature's butter. It completely transformed David's breakfast routine. At 75, he was tired of swollen ankles after his usual morning banana. When he switched to mashed avocado on whole grain toast, the creamy richness satisfied his cravings. More importantly, the healthy fats in avocado acted like tiny cushions for his joints. With even more potassium than a banana, but none of the bloating, David now enjoys steady energy all morning. A bonus he never expected? His dry skin even improved thanks to the vitamin E. Blueberries. Tiny powerhouses against inflammation. Then there are blueberries, those tiny deep blue gems that became Evelyn's secret weapon. For years, 69-year-old Evelyn suffered from stiff fingers that made knitting painful. She started adding a handful of thawed frozen blueberries to her morning oatmeal, and within weeks the ache in her joints began to fade. This relief came from the blueberries' powerful antioxidants, which work like a fire extinguisher for joint pain, neutralising inflammation. Plus, the natural fibre in these berries helps keep her blood sugar steady, preventing those mid-morning energy crashes. She always keeps a bag in her freezer now, as they're just as nutritious as fresh, and their soft texture is gentle on her sensitive gums. Papaya, your tropical digestive aid. For those who love tropical flavours, let me introduce papaya. Maria, a 73-year-old who used to love pineapple, switched to papaya when her nighttime leg cramps became unbearable. The papayan enzymes in this golden fruit not only eased her digestion but also reduced inflammation so effectively that she now sleeps soundly through the night. She enjoys it topped with lime and chia seeds for an extra anti-inflammatory boost, a trick her physical therapist recommended. Tart cherries, the gout-fighting miracle. Next up are tart cherries, the ruby red miracle that saved Robert from gout agony. At 65, he could barely walk during flare-ups until his doctor suggested unsweetened tart cherry juice. Skeptical but desperate, Robert tried just a quarter cup each night. Not only did his toe pain vanish within weeks, but the melatonin in the cherries also gave him the deepest sleep he'd had in years. Now he swears by them, and studies confirm their benefits. Seniors like him report nearly 30% less knee pain after making tart cherries a daily habit. Pears, gentle sweetness for gut and joints. Finally, there's the humble pear. This fruit was a salvation for Susan, who's 71 and found acidic apples aggravated her sensitive teeth. She now bakes ripe red pears with cinnamon and walnuts, creating a dessert so comforting she doesn't even miss apple pie. The soft texture is gentle on her dentures, while the soluble fibre feeds her gut bacteria, reducing her arthritis pain from the inside out. Think of your fruit bowl as a medicine cabinet. These smart fruit choices don't just taste good, they actively help reduce pain, improve mobility, and support your independence with every bite. Why not try swapping out one problematic fruit for one of these alternatives this week? Your legs and taste buds will likely thank you by feeling lighter and more agile. If you found this information helpful, please share this video with someone you care about who could also benefit. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more tips on living your healthiest life. Thank you for watching, and as always, stay informed, stay healthy.